The morning light always felt a little too harsh in this small town, especially before a cup of coffee. I was in the bathroom, going through the motions, wiping away the steam from the mirror after my shower. My reflection moved with me, a faithful copy as always, or so I thought. I paused, cloth in hand. Cloth. My reflection was still wiping, a fraction of a second behind. It finished its motion, then stopped, perfectly mirroring me again. I chuckled. Definitely need more sleep, I muttered to myself, shaking my head and heading for the kitchen. Down at the town's only cafe, the Daily Grind, the usual morning rush was underway. The smell of coffee and bacon filled the air. A man, a regular I recognized but didn't know by name, dropped his spoon. It clattered loudly on the tiled floor. He bent to pick it up, then straightened, his eyes catching his reflection in the wide window overlooking Main Street. We all saw it. His reflection was still looking down at the floor where the spoon had been. It was frozen. He blinked, hard, and just like that, the reflection snapped back perfectly in sync. He looked around, his face pale, to see if anyone else had noticed. We all had. A nervous quiet fell over the cafe. By afternoon, it was all anyone could talk about. The local news channel, usually reporting on bake sales and lost cats, had a special segment. Strange phenomena reported across the town of Harmony Creek, the anchor said, her voice tight with a forced calm. Residents are reporting unusual behavior from reflective surfaces. They showed shaky phone footage of mirrors being covered with bed sheets. An older man interviewed on his porch, his face grim, said, "I was shaving. I swear my reflection..." It smiled at me before I did. A big, wide grin. People were starting to panic. "Avoid your reflection," they said. "Don't look." That night, my own house felt different, colder. I couldn't resist. I stood before the bathroom mirror again, the one from this morning. I stared into my own eyes, waiting. I blinked. My reflection's eyes stayed open for a split second longer before blinking too. A cold dread crept up my spine. I reached for the light switch, plunging the room into darkness. But in the mirror, a faint outline of my face remained. It wasn't just a lingering image. It was there, standing in the pitch black, and I could just make out the edges of a faint, chilling smile. Social media was exploding with theories and terrifying accounts. One video went viral in town. It was posted by a teenager, some kid from the high school. He was in his bathroom, filming his reflection. "Okay, so everyone's freaking out," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "Let's see if it's real." He waved at the mirror. Before his hand even reached the peak of its arc, his reflection waved back. The kid screamed, a raw, terrified sound, and dropped the phone. The video cut out, the screen going black, but his scream echoed for a second longer. The post was deleted an hour later. The rules were changing. The reflections weren't just lagging or moving on their own anymore. They were showing us things that weren't there. I glanced at the hallway mirror I'd forgotten to cover. It wasn't reflecting the hallway. It showed a dimly lit room I'd never seen before, with peeling wallpaper and a single wooden chair in the center. Others saw strange, desolate landscapes or shadowy figures standing just on the other side of the glass. The worst was my bedroom mirror. I saw my own room, but I was in it, fast asleep. The perspective was from inside the mirror looking out at me. A faint, high-pitched sound started to permeate the town, the sound of glass under pressure. In my living room, a thin crack appeared on the large, decorative mirror above the fireplace, spreading like a spider's web. No one had touched it. Everyone was reporting the same thing. And then came the tapping. A soft, rhythmic tap-tap-tapping that sounded like it was coming from inside the mirrors themselves. A town hall meeting was hastily called. The mayor tried to calm everyone down, but it was useless. As I looked around the room, I noticed something horrifying. Half the people there, their eyes had a flat, glassy sheen, like a mirror's surface. I woke up to a crash. My heart pounded in my chest as I crept out of bed. The mirror in my bedroom, the one that had watched me sleep, was shattered on the floor. Shards of silvered glass lay scattered like broken teeth. I knelt down, cautiously picking up a piece. I saw my own terrified face reflected back. But then my blood ran cold. In the reflection, standing right behind me in my own room, was another me, my double. Its eyes were dark and empty, and it smiled that same slow, terrible smile from before. Then, the lights went out. The next day, chaos. 911 calls flooded the emergency lines. Police were dispatched to one house after another, finding the same bizarre scene. Mirrors were simply gone. Not broken, just vanished, leaving empty frames hanging on the walls. There were no signs of a break-in, no forced entry. The only evidence left behind were handprints, smudged on the walls where the mirrors used to be, pressed from the inside out. One officer, giving his report over the radio, suddenly stopped mid-sentence. His partner later said his reflection had just frozen, a half-second behind before he vanished into thin air. Morning has come again. A strange, unnatural silence has fallen over Harmony Creek. Every reflective surface is gone. Car windows, shop fronts, puddles on the street. All of them have been replaced by smooth black voids that seem to drink the light. My house is empty. Quiet. I walk into the bathroom. Where the mirror once hung, there is now just a faint, shimmering distortion on the wall. A remnant. It looks back at me. It smiles. It breathes. It waits. They say that when your reflection stops following you, it's because it has learned enough to take your place. Now it's their turn to live.